The greatest secret of transformation has never been found in effort, tension, or nonstop action. It has always existed in the silent spaces, the hidden realms where thought turns into form and imagination shapes reality. There is a force so deep yet so ignored that most people walk past it every single day without even noticing. It is the power of stillness, the power of resting in the unseen, the power of doing absolutely nothing yet receiving everything you once ran after. This is not laziness. This is not avoidance. This is the highest level of creative mastery, the state where your inner world becomes the designer of your outer world. When you learn how to do nothing, you begin to see how easily life can follow your lead. For centuries, people have been trained to believe that results come only from struggle, from pushing hard, from draining themselves into exhaustion. But the universe does not respond to exhaustion. It responds to clarity. It responds to the inner movement of belief. It responds to the one who steps back from the loud noise of the world and sinks into the certainty of what already exists within. Doing nothing is not passive. It is the act of pulling your attention away from conditions, from appearances, from doubts, from fears, until only your chosen assumption remains. To do nothing means to stop feeding the problem and begin feeding the reality you want. Everything begins in the unseen. Every event, every meeting, every opportunity, every form of abundance, every healing before it appeared in the world, it was first created in the invisible realm of imagination. When you understand this, you stop trying to change the world physically and start changing the cause behind the world mentally. You realize that to receive everything, you must first learn how to rest in the feeling of already having it. The outer world is only an echo, and the echo cannot appear until the sound is created. You are the creator of that sound. Your imagination is that sound. Your assumption is that sound. Your feeling of already being, having, or doing the thing you want is that sound. When the sound is formed within, the echo comes naturally with no physical strain, no forcing, no struggle. This is why doing nothing is more powerful than doing everything. When you do nothing, you are not inactive. You are inwardly active in the most exact and powerful way. You become the director of the unseen scene. You no longer try to fix the world. You simply decide what the world must reflect. You no longer fight circumstances. You simply choose the state from which you operate. You no longer chase results. You allow results to come to you. Life becomes reversed. Instead of running toward your desires, you allow your desires to move toward you. The moment you claim them internally, they begin moving toward you externally. There is a natural ease that appears when you stop trying to force manifestation and simply rest in the fulfilled state. The fulfilled state is not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe. It is the felt certainty that what you want is already done. When you enter this state, you stop looking for signs. You stop asking when it will happen. You stop worrying about the how, the where, the who. These concerns belong to the world of effort. You are operating from the world of being, and being is effortless. Being requires no struggle. Being is your natural state. Imagine sitting quietly and knowing that what you desire is already yours. Imagine the calm that would fill your chest, the soft, steady breath that would move through your body, the peace that would settle over your mind. That peace is the creative act. That peace is the command. That peace is what shapes the future. Every time you sink into that peace and feel the reality of your desire as though it were already complete, you are doing more than any amount of physical action could ever achieve. You are connecting with the root. You are rewriting the script. You are becoming the author instead of the actor who only reacts. Doing nothing means withdrawing your senses from the outer world and returning to the inner world, the only place where true creation happens. You no longer give your power away to circumstances. You no longer respond to the world. You guide it. You no longer beg life to change. You assume the change within and allow life to follow. The moment you understand this, everything becomes simple. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. You are the projector, not the screen. When you stop adjusting the screen and start adjusting the projector, everything changes without effort. People chase success, but success is a state. People chase love, but love is a state. People chase money, but money is a state. People chase opportunities, but opportunities are states. Every state is available to you right now, and you can enter any of them by simply assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you assume a state fully, your world rearranges itself to match it. This rearrangement may look like coincidence, luck, timing, synchronicity, or divine alignment, but it is none of these things. It is law. The most powerful individuals in history were not the ones who worked the hardest. They were the ones who used the invisible laws, whether knowingly or unknowingly. They were the ones who felt themselves to be great before the world ever recognized their greatness. They were the ones who lived in the feeling of already being the person they wanted to be. They knew how to enter the silence, how to step into imagination, how to assume the end so fully that the end had no choice but to take physical form. Doing nothing does not mean sitting passively with an empty mind. It means entering a deep inner stillness where imagination becomes the only reality. It means living from the end so fully that the world bends to your inner certainty. It means refusing to react to appearances because appearances are only old reflections that have not yet caught up to your new state. It means resting in the truth that what you desire is already yours even before your senses confirm it. This resting, this inner calm, is the creative power. The world will call this madness, illusion, fantasy. That is because the world believes that only physical effort creates results. But you have seen people who work non-stop and still fail. You have seen people who do everything right and still struggle. And you have also seen people who seem to move through life smoothly, attracting opportunities easily, receiving blessings they did not chase, rising without pressure. How? Not through effort, but through alignment. Not through hard work, but through state of consciousness. They have learned the secret of doing nothing externally while doing everything internally. Your inner world is the cause. Your outer world is the effect. Most people live backwards, trying to change the effect rather than the cause. They move things around on the surface while ignoring the depth. But when you work with the depth, the surface rearranges itself naturally. When you stop trying to change the world through force and begin changing your inner assumptions, the world must follow. It has no choice. It is law. There is an art to doing nothing. It is the art of relaxing into your new identity. You do not force yourself into the feeling. You gently settle into it. You let the feeling flow over you softly, naturally, as though it were the most obvious truth in the world. The more natural it feels, the more powerful it becomes. The moment you stop trying to manifest is the moment manifestation begins. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you are found. The moment you stop forcing is the moment life starts to flow. Think about how nature creates. Does the seed struggle to become a tree? Does the sun force itself to rise? Does the tide push against the shore? Everything in nature unfolds with ease, grace, and certainty. Creation is effortless. Only humans have been taught to believe that struggle is required. But the truth is that struggle only appears when imagination is misused. Struggle is what happens when you try to achieve through action what you have not yet accepted through assumption. When you assume the result inwardly, action becomes inspired, focused, and often minimal. The universe fills in all the missing steps. When you want something, you have two choices. You can chase it or you can become it. Chasing is exhausting. Becoming is easy. Chasing creates anxiety. Becoming creates certainty. Chasing forces life. Becoming attracts life. When you become internally what you desire externally, the world reflects you with perfect accuracy. Doing nothing is the act of becoming, quietly, inwardly, clearly. You must learn to sit in silence and ask yourself, if this desire were already mine, how would I feel right now? What would my inner voice sound like? How would my body relax? How would my breathing move? What would my world look like? How would I see myself? The moment you embody these answers, even for a few seconds, you activate the creative process. Those brief seconds of inner certainty carry more force than hours of restless effort. The inner world does not depend on time. The instant you enter a state, you already are that state. Time is only required for the outer world to align and reflect it back to you. But inside, the shift is already complete. This is why doing nothing holds such deep power, because it bypasses the physical level and works directly in the level of cause. When you change the cause, the effect has no choice but to follow. It becomes unavoidable. People often wonder, if I stop acting, will nothing happen? The answer is simple. When you rest in the fulfilled state, action still appears, but it arises naturally. Actions that are aligned, simple, and effortless will come forward on their own. You will feel guided from within. You will notice yourself doing exactly what needs to be done without struggle, without confusion, without doubt. You may think you are taking small steps, but those steps carry unusual power because they come from a state of already having, not from needing. The strength of doing nothing is really the strength of trusting the unseen more than the seen. It is trusting the inner world more than external evidence. It is resting in your assumption until it hardens into form. You are not here to fight your way into love, success, health, or abundance. You are here to assume the state and let life mirror it back to you. The world does not create you. Your inner state creates the world you experience. Everything you have ever experienced, whether pleasant or painful, first existed as an assumption. Think of the moments you were sure something would go wrong, and it did. Think of the moments you felt deep certainty that something good would happen, and it unfolded smoothly. The creative force never changed. Only your direction of it changed. When you direct it consciously, your life becomes conscious. When you direct it unconsciously, your life reflects that too. But in both cases, you are always creating. You cannot stop creating. You can only stop creating with awareness. The power of doing nothing brings you back into conscious creation. It brings you back into awareness of your inner authority. It pulls you out of noise and returns you to the center of your imagination. It reminds you that you are not required to struggle for what is already yours. If you can desire it, it already exists in potential for you. Your only role is internal alignment. Everything else unfolds by itself. Life organizes the details in ways you could never plan. The world behaves like a mirror. When you smile inwardly, it reflects that smile. When you carry tension, it reflects tension. When you assume abundance, abundance begins to appear. When you assume love, love begins to show up. When you assume success, success follows. There is no exception to this reflection. The mirror cannot initiate anything. It only responds. When you stop forcing external action and instead hold a steady inner assumption, the reflection becomes precise. So sit in stillness. Breathe gently. Let the noise of life fade away. Let the opinions of others lose importance. Let your doubts dissolve slowly like fog under sunlight. Enter silence within. From that silence, choose your state. Claim it quietly. Feel it as real. Become it inwardly. Do not strain or push. Do not try to convince yourself. Just be. The moment your desire feels natural inside you, the process is complete. You have planted the seed. Now allow it to grow without disturbance. Do not dig it up with doubt or impatience. Life will begin to arrange itself in unexpected ways. People you have never met will act on your behalf. Events will line up without coordination. Doors you did not even know existed will open. Opportunities will arrive without being chased. Solutions will appear without effort. This is the quiet power of doing nothing. This is the strength of resting in the end. When you understand this deeply, you stop chasing, you stop forcing, you stop struggling. You simply choose the state, remain in it, and allow life to respond. And it always responds, because you are the operant presence behind experience. You are the one observing the dream. You are the origin of the experience itself. Doing nothing becomes the most powerful action you ever take. It is pure creation in its highest form. It is the doorway through which everything flows to you. When you master this, you realize life was never withholding anything from you. It was simply waiting for you to become still enough to receive it. You begin to see that the only real effort in life is selecting and sustaining an inner state. Everything else is secondary. Everything outside is only a shadow of that inner selection. When your state changes, the reflection has no option but to change with it. Not because you force it, but because reality is structured that way. This is why doing nothing is not laziness. It is alignment. It is the conscious withdrawal from struggle so that a deeper intelligence can operate through you. There is a quiet shift that happens when you stop trying to control everything externally and start holding your awareness internally. You begin to trust silence more than noise, certainty more than effort, and feeling more than action. You no longer feel the need to control every outcome. Instead, you allow life to unfold while you remain anchored in the end result within yourself. Doing nothing feels difficult at first because the mind has been trained to believe in struggle. It has been taught that motion equals progress. But much of that motion comes from fear, not clarity. Fear creates movement, but not direction. And movement without alignment only creates exhaustion. When you stop acting from lack and start acting from inner fulfillment, everything changes. Your actions become lighter, your thoughts become calmer, your decisions become clearer. You are no longer trying to get something from life. You are expressing what you already hold within. Action itself does not create results. Action is only the expression of what has already been accepted internally. Inner acceptance is the true cause. Action is just the visible effect. When you assume something deeply, action arises on its own without force. It feels like inspiration instead of pressure. You find yourself naturally moving toward the right people, the right choices, and the right timing. It feels effortless because it is not driven by fear anymore. It is guided from within. You are no longer pushed by circumstances. You are moved by inner alignment. When you do nothing externally, but hold everything internally, you become the still center around which your entire experience reorganizes itself. People begin to respond to you differently without understanding why. Situations begin to shift without explanation. Opportunities begin to surface without pursuit. This is not imagination in the casual sense. It is law. External reality has no independent intelligence. It reflects what is already established within consciousness. Like a mirror, it cannot alter what stands before it. It can only display it with precision. To do nothing does not mean to withdraw from life. It means to stop interfering with its natural unfolding. It means refusing to contradict your desire with doubt. It means staying faithful to the unseen long enough for it to become visible. The invisible always moves first. The visible only follows. The more trust you place in the unseen, the faster the outer world reorganizes itself. Everything begins in imagination. Every repeated thought, every emotional state, every inner conversation is an act of creation. Most people create unconsciously by replaying fear, memory, and expectation of failure. Then they are surprised when life reflects those patterns back. But when imagination is directed deliberately, even doing nothing externally becomes a powerful creative act. There comes a point where you experience inner satisfaction before any outer proof appears. This is true creative awareness, not blind belief, but knowing alignment, knowing that the inner decision has already been made, and the outer world is simply catching up. In that state, your mind becomes quieter, your breath becomes slower, your attention stops searching for evidence. You no longer need confirmation from the outside world. The feeling is already complete within you, and because your satisfaction is internal, it does not depend on external approval or timing. It remains steady even before anything changes outside. And because your satisfaction is internal, the outer world begins to reorganize itself without resistance. You are no longer pushing life forward. You are allowing it to unfold from a deeper level. The need to force outcomes dissolves, and what replaces it is quiet certainty. From that certainty, life responds with surprising precision. Events align, timing adjusts, people move into position. What once felt delayed begins to accelerate, not because you worked harder, but because you stopped interfering with contradiction. This is the hidden simplicity of creation. Hold the state. Let the world mirror it. Trust the process enough to stop interrupting it. In that stillness, everything begins to move in your favor naturally, quietly, and inevitably.